Sin brings defeat and establishes demonic stronghold. Now, we need to understand something about the life of sin. Sin is like a credit card. You enjoy now and pay later. That's how it functions. Sin is also like a scent on a man. Do you know that house flies and rats are always attracted in areas where there are open wounds and rubbish? Have you noticed that? Does anybody tell them that there's rubbish here? Automatically they connect themselves to when there are open wounds and rubbish. That is how sin is an attraction to demonic spirits without anybody telling them. You know, when a child poo-poos, you can smell it around the child. Likewise, when you keep living a life of sin, it is like poo-poo on you. Every demon can smell it. I've told people that every temptation is a friend request. So just like we do Facebook, when someone sends you a friend request, you have a choice of accepting the friendship. Every temptation is Satan sending you a friend request. What you do with that request determines what happens to your life. The last time we checked, when people say it was the work of the devil, I just want to correct you. In the book of James chapter 1 verse 13, he says, let not a man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempted he any man. How is a man tempted? Follow. He says, but every man, so no one is excluded. Every man is tempted when he is drawn away of what? Of what? His own what? Lust, and is enticed. Look at the next verse. He says that when lust has conceived. Now put this down. Every child of God has a spiritual womb, and you determine what you conceive there. Every child of God has a spiritual womb, and you determine what you conceive there. You determine what you conceive there. There are some of you, the things you are breathing inside you, you need to cause an abortion. He says when lust is conceived, that means you can get pregnant with lust. It bringeth forth sin, which means sin goes through a stage. Sin goes through a stage so that nobody will ever say, hey, what just happened to me? No. The Bible is telling us that you are first drawn away by your own lust, and you are enticed. And when lust has conceived, it brings forth sin. So before sin comes in any area, lust is conceived. So listen to me. If you want to deal with sin, deal with lust. Write it down. When I'm talking of lust, I'm not just talking about sexual. If you want to deal with sin, you deal with lust. What is lust? Lust is a desire that is forbidden. A desire that is forbidden. So if you conceive a desire that is forbidden, you will birth a life that is forbidden. If you conceive a life that is acceptable, you will birth a life that is acceptable. That is why I said everyone is carrying a womb, but we determine what we keep in that womb. So in spiritual warfare, one thing you don't joke with is habitual sin. Everybody has his own faults, one way or the other. But make sure that that fault is not habitual and deliberate. Because if you get into a place of unrepentant sin, now the issue is not about the forgiveness, because God will always forgive you. But the problem is that you can't transact business with heaven. The problem is that you become a slave to the kingdom of darkness. The problem is that you abort the purposes of God for your life. There is a reason you will lose your testimony and your confidence. Yeah. So I'm not talking about heaven or hell here now. I'm not talking about God being angry with you. I'm talking about your destiny, your purpose, fulfilling your purpose.
Audio Jungle.